Welcome to Shakespeare with Sarah, where I break down Shakespeare for actors. Today I'm tackling 3 things you need to know about Viola from Twelfth Night. This was requested by Lily. And before I jump straight in, I want to remind you that if you have got auditions coming up, if you are a working actor and developing your craft, you should subscribe because I am going to be doing lots of monologue prep videos coming up soon, and also verse speaking techniques so you can master your Shakespeare, get into drama school or get that role that you want, or just generally become a better actor. So let's jump in. The first thing that I want you to know about Viola is actually, this is a little cheat thing, this is an extra thing. This is how you pronounce her name, Viola, not Viola or Viola. It is sometimes 2 syllables, sometimes 3. If you want to know more, there is a wonderful channel called The Shakespeare Coach, and she does pronunciation guides. I don't do those, so I recommend head on over there if you want to know a bit more. You know, the more Shakespeare, the better. But please don't pronounce it Viola. Now let's get into the real stuff. The first thing I want you to think about as an actor is that Viola is grieving. She's an orphan, and at the beginning of the play, she loses her twin brother, basically the only person she has in her life. She has lost her sense of what she knows. Everything is being thrown at her and she is just responding. She's not a Hamlet kind of thinking ahead, planning person. She's just moving with what she has to do. I actually think it's the key to her whole personality, her whole character, because everything that she does is based on the fact that she's lost everything. She's been upended from what she knows. She has to learn about what she's seeing and understand relationships and power dynamics very, very quickly. So I'm going to go on to my other 2 points, and they're all going to tie in together, and we'll talk about how to put them into practice as an actor. So the second thing is that she's resilient and optimistic. She is a doer. She's fairly practical. Even when she's rescued, she's like, well, maybe my brother was rescued too because I was rescued, so who knows? She stays kind of upbeat about things in a lot of ways. She has a kind of sense of faith and surrender in the universe, and maybe that's because she's lost everything and that's all she can do. Even at the end of the ring soliloquy, she says, "Time, thou must untangle this, not I. 'Tis too hard a knot for me to untie." And that is her just kind of being like, well, you know what? She's had her moment of being like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? And then she goes, well, I can't do anything about this. She does whatever she can. She does whatever is in her power. But other than that, she sort of just trusts that things will work out. The third thing is that she's quite perceptive, and this ties into her having to understand things very quickly. She goes in and she really just gets people very, very quickly. She sees what's going on in all the power dynamics. She's maybe a little bit slow with figuring out that Olivia likes her, but I think she kind of suspected it already, and then in the ring monologue is like, oh, yeah, okay, oh no, it was what I thought it was. She's always just analyzing people, I think. She's observing, she's taking a lot in and trying to figure out how she can work with it. So as I mentioned, this all ties into somebody that has had their life uprooted and completely upended. She is thinking on her feet. She is figuring stuff out. So as an actor, you are layering the grieving, which is not going to be a top layer at all. Probably the audience is not going to see that. What it may manifest as is being maybe a little bit uncertain in the moments, that she's keeps a lot inside, but whenever she's not speaking, she is taking in as much as she possibly can to help her through every moment. So make sure that you are listening to other actors. And I think there's a certain amount of vitality that comes with that surrender. Sometimes when people have gone through terrible things in their lives and they've had to kind of give over to a greater power, there's something sort of alive about them because they're having to just be present. So as an actor, you need to really practice that yourself as much as you possibly can. Being present, being open to change, being the kind of actor that is discovering, because as a character, she is discovering all the time as well. I think you can also layer a certain amount of her being a practical kind of doer, in that she's probably going to look for opportunities to actually do things. If she's not standing back and observing and taking in information, then once she's made a decision, she's going to actually go and do something. So particularly in the ring soliloquy where she's like, okay, well, I'm doing this now. There's got to be action driven from that. So think about, when is she observing, taking in, and when is she doing? Because she switches from one to the other. She doesn't hover in that kind of will I do it state like, you know, some characters we know, Hamlet. Make sure you can really feel like you're inhabiting her. This is not a character that you want to be big with. It's not a Helena from Midsummer's kind of crazy level. A lot is going on for her internally, so you really need to be comfortable with what her emotional changes are, what you think her thought changes are within a scene or a monologue, to make sure that everything that's going on for her internally is processing for you without you having to spell it out for the audience. She's not really a spell it out for the audience character, apart from when she's in soliloquy. So just a quick insight for you there. Let me know if you have more questions or other things that you want to hear about Viola, because she is such an interesting character. And do try and find an online version that you can watch, either go through YouTube, or I recommend Digital Theatre is great, or otherwise National Theatre has just released their National Theatre at Home platform, so that will give you options too. Really recommend with Viola to watch some actors doing it, because there are a lot of actors that do it very, very well, and she is a role that tends to have less variety in terms of interpretation. I've not seen too many versions of Viola where there's been like something really crazily different. They tend to be sort of within one sort of spectrum of an accepted Viola. So you do want to make sure that you're hitting the mark, I think, when it comes to Viola. And that's all. Good luck with all your productions and your auditions, and I will see you next time.